I have been thinking today after listening to an interview with between two herbalists. I love studying herbs and things like that. Rosemary de la Forêt was interviewing Rosemary Gladstar, who is just this incredible legend in the herbal world and an elder at this point. And she just came out with a new book that was not really like her other books, which were like herbal remedies and things, but a book just on quotes from people who, have made an impression over the years. So, anyway, one of the quotes brought up kind of a topic of how different our world is today since we're so connected, like on social media and not as much in person. Back in the day, there weren't even schools when Rosemary Gladstar was doing her early work, and so they would just travel to their teachers, and so it just came up that people were nicer to each other. This kind of veil that we have between us on social media seems to allow people to feel more at liberty to hate and to just throw out hurtful statements to another person. And that's really unfortunate because everybody does have feelings, and it's almost like a social shaming, and also just it kind of allows people to just be their worst selves, and it's kind of a cowardly way to do it too, right? Because I mean, I doesn't happen often, but I've had people say really mean things to me, and it's like, you don't even know me. I'm pretty soft with what I put out there. I mean, I can definitely be sharp, but I don't go on someone's timeline and just hate on them. I mean, it's just not even in my nature, but it's in the nature of a lot of people now. And I think that's very concerning. Just like anything else, we have to have integrity and discernment when we're using these devices. It's not about not embracing modern times. There are so many good things that we get to do because of them. But this comes into, a part that technology can never, ever, ever touch, which is our hearts. And, we must keep a level of that spiritual consciousness within the human evolution. And so back to these devices and the hate and all of that. So definitely disturbing to me to see how quickly people love to hate. It's definitely I think a limbic brain trigger, because the limbic brain is kind of seeking out what is negative, but that doesn't give us an excuse to be horrible to one another. So I think we all need to be more conscious about this and maybe soften a little bit. Doesn't mean you can't have an opinion. It doesn't mean that you can't have a strong opinion about someone, and maybe even someone who's acting wrong. But what I see is a lot of just free floating hate. It almost seems like there's so much anger in people, and they just want to hate something, and that's disturbing to me, because I see them attacking people. For example, all these Teslas. I mean, how awful is that? And nobody is above not only the law, but just humanity to just start vandalizing. It's just, I just think we all need to get in touch with the fact that we can have differing opinions, but there's a better conversation that can be had for sure, and to stop hating on each other. And then the other thing about I think that we need to really be careful about with these devices is that because of them, it's like what we do in a moment can last forever. And that is really not so cool for our psyches because it's like, if you make a mistake or if you have a bad day, I mean, people can keep pushing replay forever, and that doesn't really give much room for you. I mean, of course you can move on, but it doesn't give you, the comfort of like being able to say, that's in the past if someone keeps putting it out there kind of in your face. So, I don't think I think we need to think about that just as I don't know, just as a respectful thing to do to other people. And then, of course, now that people can go in and Photoshop things and whatever, like it's very unsettling, I think, to our consciousness to, we definitely have TMI, too much information, but now it's like what is true and what's not, because you can take, people who are skilled at this, that would not be me, but you can take someone's face and make them do something else. I don't know. It's I think we need to really check in with our morality about, how we're using things. Maybe it's funny to one person, but it could be devastating to another. So, and it could just be flat out, someone might just see it and not even know that it's a joke, and that could have a ripple effect. So I think we need to be a lot more conscious about it. I think we need to soften with how we are, because technology can do everything but can never do what the heart can do. That is a timeless spiritual connection that we have and that we share among ourselves, and that's what hurts. It hurts when someone's not kind. Your computer won't get its feelings hurt, but you will get your feelings hurt if someone's not kind to you. So I think that's really what has been on my mind, and I really would love to just make a wish for humanity that we can all behave better. And it doesn't mean being permissive to things that are outright wrong, for sure. I see that happening a lot too, where people are, give themselves full permission to be super hateful when someone who hasn't even done anything wrong, and yet they will go rally for someone who has done, criminal things. So, I mean, there's, nothing's ever black and white or super easy, but, if we check in with our hearts and our discernment, I think we can show up better for each other. And, even if we are online more, I actually do think, even for myself, I should, connect more in person, because I do a lot, on Zoom meetings, and most of my classes that I take or teach are on Zoom these days. And so it is kind of weird. I will say that. I mean, I'm kind of a loner anyway. Like, I don't tend to love to be in, big groups. I like one-on-one much better. But I do see, I mean, when I was seeing this interview today, it really did I felt it in my heart, like, we should make more effort, not only to connect in a genuine way, and use much more heart when we are, if we don't like something that someone says. I mean, just let's get into our humanity a bit more. So that was on my mind today.